Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And today it was an inside day, but it was a nice, relaxing day for me. I did not delve in too deep into anything, whether it was housework, whether it was, taking in different perspectives, right? Sitting in on some lessons. I just kind of spent the day with myself. Had a little chit chat with one of my sisters for a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I was in this frame of mind of summer's coming. It started out. I got up this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. I sat in my chair and it was like the middle of winter going on outside. We had a blizzard going on, a serious snow blizzard going on. And I wasn't disappointed in it because I remember sitting here and going, oh, it's so beautiful outside. But at the same time, I was a little bit disappointed because I had this plan that I was going to go out today and go for a walk. And by noon, all the snow had melted off the streets. And to tell you the truth, almost all the snow is gone right now. Incredibly, they say tomorrow is going to be plus 20. Plus 20 tomorrow. For sure, I'm going out. I said I wasn't going to take my bike out, but now I'm contemplating on going on a little test drive on my new bike. Pretty excited about my bike. And I don't think it would be any more exercise being on my bike than it would be in walking. The only difference is when I go for walks, I kind of space out. I'm enjoying the fresh air, the trees, the birds, the going ons in people's yards, right? And it's a time when I don't really have to pay too much attention, right? Except when I'm crossing a road. But when you're on a bike, you always have to be paying attention because the last thing you want is to get schmucked by a car turning a corner or something. And you can be as careful as you can, right? You could be 100% responsible and do a good job at watching yourself. But the thing is, when you're on a bike, not everybody is watching out for you. So you got to have to consider yourself. You're a vehicle when you're on the bike. You don't really have a right of way, mind you. If they hit you, you would have the right of way, but you don't really have the right of way. People aren't looking for the bikes right at this moment. And so I am still debating with myself whether I'm going to take my bike out for a ride tomorrow. I just might go for a walk, right? I haven't been for a walk now in 2 weeks, other than to go to the grocery store for a dozen eggs or a quart of milk. I haven't gone for a walk. That little episode that I had kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, right? And it was to remind me that I'm not 20 anymore. Good evening, Tammy. Good evening. And, with spring in the air, I was thinking, it's like a renewal, isn't it? Everything is fresh, everything is clean. You wouldn't know it to look at all the garbage on the sidewalks and the sand in the streets from keeping them sanded over the winter, so there wasn't a lot of accidents. But, with that little bit of snow that we had today and it all melted, the trees got lots of water on their branches, and I'm sure the trees all enjoyed the sun. I actually kind of looked at my window and took a little bit of a scan to see if I could see any buds yet. I don't think so. The snow's only been gone for a couple of days, but when spring hits here, it really does hit pretty fast. How's spring sorting out in Michigan there, Tammy? Are you feeling it yet? So I thought, in beginnings, I have three beginnings in my year, right? The first one I have is when I get back from my September trip. It's a new beginning for me. It's the beginning of my fiscal year because my whole year is wrapped up in my September trip. That's my goal. That's my bag at the end of the stick over my shoulder. And it holds my trip. It's my reward to myself. Whether I do a good job or a bad job, it doesn't matter. I do my very best in whatever I do. And I know that I could apply myself even harder. But I don't want to be a slave driver to myself because even though that's my stick with the bag at the end. That's my reward, right? My reward is my existence throughout the year, too. And I want to enjoy my year in whatever I'm doing from day to day, week to month. And as we get closer to September, I get pumped, right? Because that trip is coming. So in October, so September I go on my trip. October 1st, I have my game plan set for the next year. I make a goal list of all the things that I want to accomplish during the year. And I do that in September, right after my trip. Because if you don't have that something, because like I said, that's my reward. That's the big thing that I look forward to every single year. Now, when you get to that climax and you have that trip under the belt and it's completed and you're just all exhausted and happy about it, if you just leave it at that and just carry on with your life, it could be very, very depressing. It could be very sad because it's the climax, it's the fall after the climax, right? And so I learned this. It's kind of an entrepreneur kind of story, had something to do with the stock market, right? And so I always made sure that at the end of September, I've got my goal list for the next fiscal year, things that I need to accomplish. Sometimes it's gear. Usually there's gear that needs to be replaced because winter my camping gear wears out. And and then I have things like I had to accomplish getting my glasses this year. And that's a big expense for me, especially with my eye prescription. I can't just do little cheap glasses. I have to do a little bit of an investment in my glasses. And so that was a big investment. There were a few things that I checked off my list, like the tent. I needed a new tent for my September trip next year because, as you guys know, my tent failed on me after my very first campground last year. And that was pretty hard because I had to sleep in a little VW for the entire 2 weeks that I was away. And I made the best of it and I made myself as comfortable as I could. And I whistled through it and I smiled through it, but it was a little bit achy. And I had to put that tent on my goal list in the end of September. What else did I have on the goal list that I accomplished? Oh, my hikers. I got a pair of new hikers, a new pair of runners from when I'm out in the campgrounds, my provincial parks. I do have really, really great hikers, but they are in sandal form. So we always know that it's not always the kind of weather that you can wear them in. So if it's thunderstorming and mucking, like you need to have a good pair of hikers. So I put that on my goal list and I've got that accomplished. Oh, there was something else that I accomplished that was pretty pretty important. I can't see my list from here, but there were a few things like I needed a new office desk. I haven't accomplished that, but if I don't get it done, right? I may have come across a good thrifted one. In May, we usually have a giveaway weekend where people are allowed to give the stuff that they don't want anymore, and they put it out on the boulevard, and it's a big day for everybody because everybody goes for walks and they go for drives and they just look up and down the boulevards to see what people are giving away. I may be able to find a desk at that point. I need a new office chair, uh a new camp chair, right? Because my sister's camp chair kind of spoiled me, and I'm kind of like a nice camping chair. I have a camping chair. If I don't accomplish that, it's on the bottom of the list, right? We get the priorities taken care of. So in September, it is new beginnings. It's my fiscal year. But also, I have to remember when I come home from my trip, I usually overspend a little bit on that trip. So there's a little bit of bill catch up. So it's buckling down, right? Getting ready for winter. It's getting caught up on the bills because I overspent on my trip. It's just settling in and getting the work done. Start checking off those goals on my list. The next new beginning that we have is January 1st, right? That's a new beginning. Lots of people, they do New Year's resolutions, but new in getting things done like that, that's where we're really buckling down because you can't go out and about. You're not outside. You're not going walking to the malls and spending money. So you're doing a little bit of buckling down at that point, right? You're saving a little bit of money. You're catching up on your bills. You're checking things off on your goal list, right? But also in January, we have to keep in mind that the thing that we have to take care of, especially when you live in the northern hemisphere, is you have to take care of your mentality. You have to take care of your emotional well being because of the blues, right? And almost everybody gets some state of the blues, the sadness, right? I'm all locked up. I when I go outside, I have to spend half an hour getting geared up with the snow pants and the snow boots and the hoodies and the winter coats and the face masks or face muffs and the scarves and the toques and right. And so it's not freeing. It doesn't have a free feeling to it for the new year. But if you set your goals in the new year, lots of people do their New Year's resolutions, and hopefully we stay on top of it a little bit, right? So that we don't beat ourselves up, that we don't put ourselves in that state of the winter blues, right? And some people, they get really, really ill. They have to have those energy lights on their desk so that, they've getting those good vibes, those good energy rays on them to help improve their moods. Lots of people, they take medication, right? And it's just all these things that we do to take care of ourselves. But it is a new beginning, January 1st, right? But the big one, right? I think the big one for everybody is spring. Because spring says everything about new beginnings. The buds are on the trees, the squirrels are running around, the sun is out, the snow is gone, right? We're not bundling up in all the layers of clothes. Those winter blues are gone. The blue sky is right, and the smiles come back to us, and we really feel like, oh my goodness, right? We get to come alive because we've been cooped up. right? Probably if you live in the northern hemisphere from end of October or the end, well, maybe mid-October to end of April. Right? We're cooped up and we are ready for spring. And so we get excited in that, right? And so that's an opportunity for us to improve our moods. And when we improve our moods, we get more active mentally, emotionally, and physically. We're out there cleaning dog poop out of the backyards that have accumulated over the winter, right? That we're cleaning up the eaves troughs because it's going to start raining and we don't need them clogged, do we? Right? That just causes us more work. So we're out there doing the yard work. We're looking forward to getting the gardening. So we're planning for the gardening and we come alive in the spring. And the momentum of that, because spring leads into summer, and there really isn't a new beginning in summer, right? I got two pairs of Keen boots. They're the same boots, right? Just one has better traction than the other, but I have two pairs of Keen boots. I have five pairs of Keens, you guys. I have five pairs of Keens. I love Keens. They're my favorite brand, and they have keen hikers, but they're a couple of $100. But I keep watching on Marketplace to see if a good pair comes up for $50 or something. When I go to the thrift stores, I've always got my eye open for the hikers to see, if a pair shows up and I can get a good deal on a pair of keen hikers. That would be amazing. It's my favorite brand. Unfortunately, they're not an inexpensive brand, but it's important for me to have good footage, right? That I take care of my feet. We talked about it, I think, last week about having good feet, not being able to move around and feel active and be able to go for walks or go for bike rides. That would be heartbreaking for me. I would adapt and conquer, and again I would smile through that misery and I would cheer myself up in other ways. But if we're taking care of ourselves, right? And that experience, like every crappy experience that we have in our lives, right? Lots of people, they just go through that experience and go, "Oh my goodness, thank God that's over," and they just go back to whatever they were doing. But for myself, when I have these really bad experiences, it's important for me to take the lesson in that, right? It's very important for me to take the lessons because that's why these terrible things happen to us, right? So that we can have an experience, that we can read into it, we can learn from our mistakes, we can find a better way. Sometimes we do have to pivot, right? Sometimes we do have to bring a big change into our lives. And that's the thing about spring. It's the perfect time because our mentality, our emotional well being, and our physical well being, our physical is ready to start moving and get out there. Like, even for myself, I'm going to go out. I'm going to see if I can get a couple of days of work of in a beer garden or in a bar or something, right? Or in a restaurant serving so that I could start saving for that trip that I'm going on in September. And that's another thing about spring. Then you start feeling the heat again of what you need to accomplish, right? You feel that push of, oh my goodness, right? It's time to take action, right? And all these new beginnings are meant to give us that opportunity to go into action, to get things accomplished. For myself, I do it. It's not fun in the wintertime when you're all buckled down, when you're all bundled up, when you're locked in from a snowstorm unless you're sitting in the chair and enjoying looking out the big picture window. But winter does lock us down pretty good. And I always tell people, when I bump into them and they're moaning and groaning, and I don't mean to say moaning and groaning, but then when they're talking about their aches and pains and their illnesses or their broken arm or they broke a leg or something, and I'm saying, you look at the bright side, right? You have this opportunity in the winter when you're locked down, when you can't do anything anyway, that you can look forward to spring and you can look forward to summer and know that it's not going to be wasted because you're dealing with this stuff right now. For myself, when troubles come into my life, I would much rather have all the troubles. Give it to me all at once. Don't give me something here and then something next month and the month after that, and it's depressing, right? And it's important, like it's our physicality and our mental well-being and our emotional well-being are all equally as important, right? But lots of times we don't take care of ourselves. We don't take those into consideration. Now, one of the things that I said, it's not on my goal list, but I haven't had a checkup, a medical checkup for quite a while. I'm thinking after that experience that I had a couple of weeks ago, in right just wearing myself down in those big long walks with my 40-pound backpack on my back, that it gave me a little bit of a wake up call. And so I thought maybe, right, that it would be time for me to go in and get a thorough checkup just to make sure that everything is going good. And it's important, right? And so new beginnings in spring is a great opportunity because it's the last new beginnings. I don't know if you guys have a new beginning in the fall, right? Like I do. It kind of breaks up the long span in between spring and winter, right? Or New Year's Eve. Those new beginnings. I'm grateful for my October new beginnings, where I can actually buckle down and get some things checked off my list. And I've checked off, I think, 4 or 5 things that were on my goal list for this year. And I feel pretty good about it. But at the same time, right, I have 2 big things that I've got to accomplish in order to be able to go on this trip even in September. And one of them is the car rental, and the other one is my camp spots, and they're both going to be over $1,000, right? So in that resolving, in that idea of, right, making sure that I'm taking care of myself emotionally, physically, and mentally, because that's the mental part of it, is when you start worrying about bills, worrying about, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this, right? That is the mental frazzle that can make you crash out. And I'm not usually one to crash out. I have lots of different interests. I have goals to accomplish. I have great coping mechanisms like going for my walks and going for bike rides. I go swimming, right? That I take care of myself. I have different things. So if I'm feeling kind of slump in one aspect of my life, then I'm going to jump into one of those other aspects of my life that is also beneficial. I'm not just going to sit here and go, "Boy, you see me," right? I'm not going to scroll on my phone all day, right? I'm actually going to apply myself in something else. And that something else will make me feel better, whether or not it makes me accomplish in my goals. It doesn't have to, right? Because sometimes we get punch drunk in what we do. Like for myself, especially when I'm sitting in lectures or listening to different thought leaders in their ideas and in their perspectives, whether I'm doing research, I can get punch drunk in that. And especially, I noticed it in the past 2 weeks because I had said to myself, we are going to take it easy. Well, the first week I couldn't do anything, I was out for the count, right? But the second week, I wanted to make sure I was fully recuperated. And oh my goodness, I feel pretty good. And I've been pretty adamant about my vitamins and my minerals and right and doing little things that will make me feel good and coming into spring, like switching out my spring closet, setting up my air conditioner, right? Getting some of those um, donation bags ready and garage sale items put away and cleaning out the whole closet and just in getting my glasses and getting things that I needed done, it made me feel good. It made me feel productive, right? It made me feel like I was making movement forward. And that's what the whole idea is in new beginnings, right? It's moving forward. What are we moving forward with this spring, right? And I have goal list of the things that I have to accomplish when it comes to money or when it comes to these items that I want. Um, but also those little goal list in like switching over the spring closet, cleaning the poop out of the backyard that's been accumulating all winter, right? Getting the lawn more oiled and ready to go for a new season, cleaning out the eaves troughs, right? And these are things that will make us feel good. These are things that will make us feel like we're giving ourselves a little bit of head start because these are things that we still have to do. But if you get them off the list now, that frees up to concentrate on the big things, and whether that big things is enjoying going camping or going getting on a floaty and floating down the river, right? Which I'm looking forward to doing with my sister Tracy. She had a triple heart bypass this year and she said she wanted to go tubing. So we're going to go tubing down the Pinawa River. So I think she's going, oh, it's the Winnipeg River, but it's in Pinawa. So we're going to go do that. And I think she's going to absolutely love it. She's never done it before. And I'm going to love it. I've done it and it's so much fun. But to spend a little bit time outdoors with myself on my bike, going for walks and in contemplation, right? Not so much taking in other people's perspectives, but getting into my own perspectives, getting into my own being and spending time with myself, right? And that was like that word that we had in companionship and making sure that we are a good companion for ourselves, right? Okay. Well, I set my goals in October. So October, November, December, January, February, March, 6 months, and I only accomplished four things. But I think in where I am at in my life that I was pretty steadfast, right? When those little chunks of money came in, that I stayed on top of my house bills, that I checked some of those big things that I needed to check off of my goal list. I wish I knew what that. I know I checked off four things off. I can't even see it so far away. It's on my fridge, right, with the magnets. And then every time I accomplish something off, I take my highlighter, right? I take my highlighter and I go and I highlight it off. and it makes me feel good when I open up the fridge door. I can look at my goal list, and when you think, oh my goodness, I'm not getting anything done, or I start worrying about how am I going to accumulate the cash to get this big trip done, that I could look at the list and go, Cindy, smarten up. Look how much you've accomplished already, right? In all reality, you shouldn't have even been able to accomplish this, but you buckled down. You were, I'm not going to say strict with yourself, but you were determined, and you got it done. You set priorities and you got those priorities done, right? And it's a way of keeping care of our mentality and actually feeling when spring comes in, because I'm ready for spring down. All those projects that you do in spring, for myself, right? Because I was locked up in the house. I said, one more week, Cindy, just to make sure that you're physically good. You don't want to be going out there feeling a little bit achy. And then by the time you come home from your walk, you're a lot achy. I'm going to take it easy on wearing the backpack for a little while, also, right? I'm somebody who likes to haul. When I go out for walks and stuff, it's a good opportunity for me to get the chores done, for me to get the grocery shopping done, for me to go and just pick up stuff when I'm reselling and stuff. And sometimes I don't know what I'm going to pick up. Like I picked up this great big 3-gallon Bubba mug keg, and it's absolutely huge. And I hauled that home in one hand, and then I had my granny wagon in the other hand, and then I had my backpack full of groceries. And I walked home from another part of the city, right? And that was just one day, and I did that every day for a week, and I really put myself out. But I needed that lesson. I needed that lesson, just like I needed that lesson when I was in my 40s, when my feet went out. I got that fasciitis, and I said, "Oh my goodness, that was the worst experience I ever had." And I said, "Nah, we're never doing that again. I am wearing good shoes from now on." And that's when, well, I didn't find Keen brand at that time, but I started wearing more expensive, good quality, high arched shoes. I never went bare feet on any floor after that. Even when I go visit people, I put my I put my slippers in my backpack, right? And I take them with me because I can't be without my shoes. I can't walk without shoes because I don't want to have that experience where I might end up in a walker. I'm an outdoors girl, right? I'm going to be making YouTube videos until I'm 114 years old. Maybe not that, but I'm going to be on the road until I'm at least 80 years old, for sure, until at least I'm 80 years old. But in order to do that, I have to take care of my physicality, and my biggest physicality in that would be my feet, because I would be able to walk trails, right? And especially when I go off in September and I'm the only one in a provincial park, there's no rescue coming for me except for maybe, the camp workers when they're ready to shut down the park for winter, and they say, "Well, this woman's still here. Why is she still here?" And then they have to go on a little bit of a search party to find me laying down on some trail for a few days. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm taking care of myself. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a visit and see if I could find myself a new family doctor. I usually go to walk-in clinics. I don't normally, right? I had the best family doctor I ever had, and I've tried a few doctors, but they never met to the standards of this amazing Dr. Rahman that I had. He was a East Indian gentleman, He really took an interest in me. And when he took an interest in me, I wanted to be doing good by him and his advice, because he took very good care of me for like 25 years. He was such a great doctor, right? So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll go and see if I can get registered and find myself a new family doctor. As we mature, it's important. I'm grateful for my good health, that I haven't had the need to have a family doctor, but it is time, right? And it's time. And I'm kind of proud of myself that I actually recognize that too, because I'm a bit of a diehard, right? Right, I'm one of those people. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But I know that if you're not keeping it upkept, if you're not maintaining, right, mishaps can happen. So, yeah, new beginnings. It's spring, you guys. Okay, let's come down. Um, I love how you have your yearly planning and yearly goals, Cindy. That's awesome. I love that about you. I think it's important for everybody to have a little bit of a list, even if it's just things for yourself. But we have to remember that there are things that we have to plan ahead for, like I had to plan ahead for my glasses, and I had to think, well, when am I going to get, right? I'm barely putting a roof over my head in the moment. So when am I going to get a big chunk of cash? Oh, well, okay, that's income tax return. Okay, so income tax return is dedicated to getting my glasses. And usually my income tax return is dedicated to paying for my camping spots. So even though I'm ahead in one, it was the priority, right? It was the priority above anything else. So that needed to be checked off the list. Oh, when I got my contacts, I was able to get back to my contact lenses. I haven't worn them yet, but if you don't see me with my glasses, Tammy, I won't be able to read my comments. So you'll be all on your own in the comments there, Tammy. Mind you, I do have a pair of glasses, and I'll have. Oh no, I have readers. I have readers. I have a pair of readers that I can just slip on over over my contact lenses. So that's what I do. The contact lenses are just for dress up day, right? Just to feel pretty if I need to be. I don't even know if I would be pretty. I'm so comfortable with myself in my glasses now. I don't even know how I'd feel about wearing I haven't even started wearing them yet. I have them in the bathroom, but I haven't worn them yet. So I'm just waiting for that opportunity. And I guess the season of birthdays in my family are coming up, because all my sisters are born in the summer. It's a dog out there yapping. Yeah, all my sisters are born in the summer, so we have little birthday gatherings and stuff in the summertime for everybody. My birthday's in the fall, right? And I like that. And I kind of look at my trip in September as my birthday gift to myself. That gift. So, when I say that September trip happens no matter what, whether I deserve it or I don't deserve it. And I always feel I try to deserve it in setting those goals and always moving forward and always doing better by myself and doing better by others, right? But sometimes, right, things trip us up in our life, and then we think that we don't get enough done. And sometimes I have to say, that trip happens in September, whether I feel I deserve it or I don't feel I deserve it, right? And it's important for me because I explore the inside and the outside, and that's the joy in my life that brings absolute joy into my life. And I get one shot in this life, right? So it's important to bring as much joy into my life as I possibly can, right? And yes, it's something big. I could get the joy and go up to the zoo and walk around the park and stuff, right? I could do that. But to me, that's not the same, right? I like to feel like the world is mine. And when I'm out in a provincial park and I've got the whole park to myself, when I could go walk down a trail and connect with Mother Nature, when I can sit in a chair at a side of a lake and look at a beautiful sunset or a beautiful sunrise, there's something special. It touches me in a way, and it really makes life worth living. Whereas lots of people, they don't have that, right? They have other things that they love and they enjoy, right? Each one of us has things that bring that feeling into our lives. And for me, it is, right, the connection that I have with Mother Nature and being out and about with myself and being a good friend to myself, because I really believe that those other parts of me love being out in nature just as much as I do. And that's a good incentive too, because I know, right? They're going to contribute to that pot of goodness because they want to go on this trip too, right? I've never not yet manifested that trip. And there were a few times I didn't think I was going to manage to get it done. Like this past year, when my sister went in for her triple heart bypass, we didn't even know when she was going to get her surgery. We didn't even know if she was going to make it to have that surgery. It was a very stressful time for all of us, especially her. And then when she just turned into the best post-op patient ever, and she got out of the hospital and she was feeling so much better, and I was able to manage to go on my trip. It was absolutely incredible that I was able to manage to do that, right? And it worked out so perfectly for me, and it was amazing. But that's the way it is, all these things that push up against me, right? And that's the challenge. I actually take it on as a challenge, these problems that come into my life, and I push back against it, because I know that if I push back against it, that somewheres along the line, if I don't give up, if I don't stop trying, something will crack open on the other end and it will open up to me and manifest. I know that for a fact. And I've been practicing that for a very long, long time. And it's not failed me. That's not to say that it'll never fail me, but it has never failed me yet. And I truly believe in it. And it's because I believe in it, right? What you think about is realized. And that's important too, right? That's important too. When you set these goal lists, that you, right? You think about it. You know you're going to get it done. This is what we've got to get done. And right, you start moving towards it. And yeah, it's not fun. It's difficult. It's a little bit scary and worrisome whether or not you're going to get it done. But if you don't quit in it, if you just keep trying, something always, always cracks open and it works out in the end, always. Uh, hmm. Your tent. Did you get something to do with your computer, Cindy? Oh, Tammy. Yes, it was the computer, right? I got such a great deal. I needed a new desktop. I had no more RAM left in my old desktop, and I didn't know how to reboot it and start it afresh. And right, I'm not technically inclined that way. It's sitting in my walk-in closet because I don't want to throw it into the garbage, because we have the garbage pickers, and if they get my computer, right, there's probably still quite a bit of information on there relevant to me. So I need to go in there and with a hammer and just bash everything up pretty good. right? Or at least give it to my nephew who lives upstairs, and he's very literate when it comes to computers. He actually built me my very first computer when he was 10 years old. He was 10 years old and he built me my very first computer. He's 30 years old now. That was 20 years ago when I had my very first computer. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah. But before then, we had our phones. We were all using our phones like computers. But when I got a discount, my desktop, I love working on desktops. I like having a big monitor, right? That I can see things nice and clearly. I like to have my laptop because I need that extra RAM and that extra GPU so that I can, right, have my editing program there so that I can edit my videos and my trips. And it's important for me, right, that I invest in the things that are important to me. Lots of people would be happy with just a laptop or just a desktop or just their phone, right? But I'm a content creator. I need all three. I need all three. I'm sure if I had to, I would manage just on my laptop. I know I would manage just on my laptop. That was a big accomplishment. That was on my goal list last year, and that was a big one. Oh my goodness. I never thought because I knew the computer laptop that I needed was going to cost me $5,000, and I ended up getting one built for myself for $1,000 with all the specs that I wanted. I didn't remember that I wanted a good camera on my laptop, so I let them decide the specs on that. But I did pretty good, and I got a really good computer, and it does really, really well. It holds up, right? When I was using my desktop when I was editing videos, it actually sounded like a Harley Davidson. It would all be grinding and making horrible noises. It was something, but good memory, Tammy. Thank you for reminding me. It was driving me a little bit bonkers after my live show. I would have gone to the fridge to see what was the other thing. But yeah, it was a desktop. I got a desktop too. It was on my goal list, right? And yeah, super happy for that because I really love working with a desktop, right? It works out really well for me. Um, Oh yeah, yeah, I got all that done. I right, and that's the thing too is those goal lists, right? They keep me going. Otherwise, I would spend my money frivolously, right? I would spend my money frivolously, and then when these responsibilities come up, when I really have to have it, like my glasses, I really needed to have my glasses. They were broken. I mean, they worked functionally. I could read them, but right, I had crazy glued the frame. I had taken off, and they weren't even a year old. And I took off the reflective coating on the glasses, and they were so much more expensive than these. And I got these from a really good um, glass shop. Is that what they're glasses shop? Not the optometrist where you actually go in and buy the glasses. And I got a really good deal, and I think they were like $100 cheaper than the cheapy ones that I bought. And the cheapy ones I bought were like the cheapest ones I could get for my prescription. And these ones were a really good price for a really good quality. But the fact that I had a coupon for 50% off of my lenses, that was the best part because the lenses for my glasses alone were almost $800. So I got 50% off of my lenses, and I didn't get a very expensive frame. I think my frames were under $200 anyway. They were under $200. So I did really well in the pricing and in the quality of my glasses. And they took very, very good care of me for sure. You're hearing the siren, eh? They're going down a main drag, a different main drag. I don't I don't think they're coming up my street. They might be, but I'll send them some good cheer if they come up my street too. But you're right. We're going to send them some good cheer. You guys know I live behind a fire station. Okay, you guys. Well, that was just kind of a light conversation. But yeah, spring's here. It's a new beginning. You guys, it's a new beginning. I would say, pull out a piece of paper and make a few goals for what you would like to get done. If you don't have a new beginning in the fall like I do, then your January. What do you want to get done between now when it's spring and January? And put all kinds of things on it. I mean, everything that you need to get done, right? Whether it's switching out the spring closet or cleaning out your walk-in closet, or like I said, cleaning the poop out of the backyard from the accumulation over the winter. Like, get all these things on your goal list and then just check them off and just feel how you will feel. Hello, Clyde. And just feel how you're going to feel about yourself, about getting these things done. Especially when we live in this world right now, this hairy, scary world that's all over the place, right? That we need to feel that we're accomplishing, right? Accomplishing makes me feel really good. It's part of my programming. It's right. And it always has been to feel good in what I can get done. But when I tie that sense of accomplishment to my goal list, that goal list is specifically for me, right? Of course, in sense of accomplishment, we take care of others too. We help others too, right? But that goal list is specifically in our accomplishment, and it's important to treat ourselves like we matter, whether we feel we deserve it or we don't, right? It's important to feel like we're accomplishing. And it accomplishing makes me happy. It puts a smile on my face every single time. Every single time it does. I came back into my live show last night tonight and I watched the lesson that I put out on resentment, and I was kind of pleased in it. I wish I had gone in a little bit deeper into the conversation about forgiveness, because I was in the idea of forgiveness today in my contemplation and in my thoughts, because forgiveness is part of new beginnings, isn't it? Hello, Eugene. Hello, Eugene. Um, it is new beginnings in forgiveness and just cleaning that slate. Just a fresh start for you, fresh start for your family, fresh start for your stinky coworkers. Right? Right? Your Karen next door neighbor. Just to forgive, wipe that slate clean and give everything and everyone a fresh start, a clean slate, an opportunity even to do right by people's wrongs and even do right by our own wrongs, right? So it's important to forgive ourselves too in that respect. But forgiveness is a good word for spring because it gives you an opportunity to start new, to resurrect, to start fresh. And yeah, I was thinking about that today. Okay, you guys, we're just going to grab a card. If you've never come into my live before, 54 powerful words, you guys. Every one is a powerful word, and maybe it will reflect in our conversation tonight. Maybe we're just going to go off into something else. You don't know, but here's the card. Oh, what a great word, you guys. Thumbnail. Believe is the foundation that makes all things possible, right? A new beginning, you guys. Make a little list of things that you want to get done. It gives you something to look forward to when you feel like you've got idle hands or you're being lazy, right? We're not necessarily being lazy, but sometimes when we sit our butts down and we always feel like we need to be doing something, we can beat ourselves up for that. That's why I have my interests and my hobbies so that when I get punch drunk from all the storage of information or all the conversations that I'm sitting in, right? Or some of these deep pieces of content that hit me when it's working in emotions, right? That I could get really punch drunk by that. And it's heavy, and I need to get away from that. And so, in my interests, I have other interests. I have hobbies, I have other topics of interest that I go into. And it helps me to feel that, I'm not slacking. I'm not being lazy because lots of times, right, whether we're lazy or not, we can look at ourselves and we can feel that way about ourselves, right? Believe is the foundation that makes it all possible. Believe that you can take that highlighter and check all those things off your goal list. It's spring, you guys. It's a new beginning. We have an opportunity to start off brand new, right? Or start off on better footings where we felt like we were kind of teetering or we were kind of ready to run away from whoever or whatever was frustrating for us, right? Believe that whatever you put on that list, right? Believe that you can get that done. Believe that you can accomplish. Believe that you can feel good by accomplishing these things, right? It's springtime. It's an opportunity to start completely over. And you got to believe that you can do a better time or a better job, right? This spring, this year than you did last year. Maybe you failed in your New Year's resolution. And since New Year's, you've just been beating yourself up because you said you wanted to lose 20 pounds and you couldn't lose the 20 pounds. It's a new beginning, you guys, right? Put that on your goal list that you want to lose 20 pounds and put it on your fridge. And every time you open up the fridge, you'll see that goal on your goal list. Maybe you'll close the fridge door. Maybe you won't. Maybe after your little treat, you'll go, okay, time for a walk, right? And you walk it off and you believe that you can accomplish everything that you set your mind to, right? You have to. You got to believe that beginnings are plausible, they're possible, and they're going to happen, right? Not just for yourself, but just in your community, even for what's going on in the world. Just believe, right? That it's possible, that we can start fresh, that no matter how bad life feels in the moment, how sad, how miserable, how difficult it is, just believe, right? And then that will be the foundation that makes things possible, right? And then just start checking those things off your list and watch how that improves your mentality, your emotions, maybe in your physicality if you lose those 20 pounds. Okay, you guys. And the powerful word for tonight is believe. Certainly it is. I love this word, believe. I really do because, you know, I grew up and I didn't have that idea of optimism, right? I didn't really believe, but I had that word despite, and it served me well. It's not a very positive word, but I had that word despite. And despite what anybody said, no, despite what anybody think I could do it, or if they thought that I couldn't, if they thought I was worthy, if they thought I wasn't, if they thought I was smart, or they thought I wasn't, if they thought I was pretty, or if they thought I was, it didn't matter. Despite that, I'm going to create the best life for myself as I possibly can. And it was well into my 50s when I started the practice of believe, right? And all these years now, and I've been doing this for a while now, I've been on YouTube for 14 years. It has been a process for me. But I really do believe that I'm creating the best life for myself as I possibly can. And it's a beautiful life, right? In looking back in the past, right? In that comparison and all the things that I've accomplished in those 12 years that I've been on YouTube, that's brought joy to my life. That definitely has brought joy to my life. And it's definitely brought belief into my life because I'm that evidence for myself that it can be done, right? And it's not just in that evidence for myself, right? Kind of hoping that that evidence that I bring to the table is something that maybe might inspire somebody else, right? To get out that piece of paper and make a little goal list of things that you want to accomplish. And if you don't have a new beginning in the fall, well, you guys know what? Between now and January, how much can we accomplish? I think quite a bit, right? And even if you don't get all those things checked off your list, you'll get a few of them, right? And that's enough sometimes to keep the mentality and the emotion feeling like, okay, it works, right? I could have been laying on the beach drinking pina coladas, but I got the poop cleaned out in the backyard that accumulated over winter, right? Whatever it takes, right? To make sure that you're enjoying the life that you're building for yourself, right? Because it rubs off on everybody that you surround yourself with, right? In keeping yourself optimistic, right? In keeping yourself in that sense of belief, right? And it brings something to your life that other people will recognize that. And then what happens? You get to be the evidence for somebody else, right? And that's like, what do you call that movie? Pay It Forward, right? It's like pay it forward. It's like contagion. It's like a virus, right? And that's a virus we really do need in the world right now. That virus of belief. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much, you guys, for popping into my live tonight. I hope you have a great night. You know, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll think of something. You guys have a great night. Bye bye.